Hey guys, I'm in the back of my van. I just got home from a job, and you can see that thing fell out in transit. So I'll put that back up in just a second. I want to let you know how I started washing windows and I started making $100 an hour. This was a few years back, and I was cleaning a restaurant for my mentor's company, and I was with my brother. My brother just mentioned, hey man, we are washing windows sometimes for this mentor. His name's Victor. Washing windows for Victor. Why don't we just start doing that on our own? That's something we could start doing. And I was like, yeah, man, that sounds great. Let's do that. So that was the very first service that we started offering, because I didn't want to just start offering all kinds of services: carpet cleaning, pressure washing, window washing, floor care. Because when you start offering a ton of stuff right out of the gate, you're going to suck at all of it. So I thought, let's just focus on one thing and get really good at that. And that one thing was window washing. Now, it's very simple, and you could do this right now. I don't do it, so I don't care. It's not like I'm competing against anyone because I don't offer it anymore. The reason I don't particularly want to wash windows is because you're out in the heat, and I would rather be indoors. Two, you're up on ladders. I don't want to fall off a ladder. Falling off a 20-foot ladder could kill you. And I don't want any of my people up on ladders because I don't want to be responsible for anybody to get hurt. I wouldn't feel good about it. The third thing is, washing windows is super, super hard work. It seems really easy, but when you're washing your fourth house of the day and you have to keep climbing up and down ladders and carrying big, heavy buckets of water in 100-degree heat, it's extremely hard work. So I personally don't wash windows anymore, but I did spend 2 summers doing this. So that's why I'm willing to give up my secrets. What we did on the very first day is we went to the Kinko store and we printed up 100 flyers. I didn't own a printer at the time. Printers cost money. I didn't have any money, so I didn't have a printer. So we go to Kinko's and I just type up a basic flyer. It had like a little black and white picture of a squeegee on it, and it said, window washing 50% off, call Joe. My name's Joe, by the way. And that's all it said. It had my phone number on it. And very simple, very basic flyer. It was on a half sheet of paper. That way we could cut it in half and use the other half and save 50% on our printing costs, which were like $10 for 100 papers or something. And we started knocking door to door. And I have a very simple sales pitch because I don't like to be pushy. I understand that people are eating dinner, they're hanging out with their kids, they just got off work. They don't want to deal with door-to-door salespeople. So last thing I want to do is be a pushy salesman. I know that I'm offering something of value, and the people that want it are going to buy it, and the people that don't, they're going to tell me to get lost. So I would knock on their door. Also, I thought it was really important to knock on the door because if you're just handing out flyers, you might get 1 out of 200 people to call you back, and I don't have time to go hand out 100 flyers and only get 2 out of 200. Now, the numbers might be a little bit different, I don't know, but that's what it seems like to me when I was doing it. So anyway, I would knock on the door, and most of the people don't answer, and then I would just leave it. But the people that did answer, I think probably 1 out of 5 people would say, yeah, give me an estimate. Anyway, my sales pitch was, hi, my name's Joe, we're washing windows for 50% off, do you have 5 minutes for a quick estimate? And we would probably get like 1 out of 5 people that were like, yeah, go ahead and give me an estimate. And just about every single person that asked for an estimate closed the deal. Some people would be like, well, I need to talk to my husband or wife and I'll let you know. But most of the time they would close the deal right then and there. Now, what I would do is I made a little form that I'd fill out. I had their name, their email address, their phone number, their address. That way I could find them again. And then underneath all that had the number of windows and some little notes I could take about the job. So what I'd do is I'd walk around the house and I'd count up every single window. And I'd look for any obstacles, anything that I needed to be careful about, anything that could screw the job up. That way I could communicate any problems to the customer before I started, so I could set some expectations. That way they're not disappointed with the end result. So I'd be like, there's a bush in front of this window, it's gonna be really hard to reach. There could be some streaks on that window. Or this window's really high, it's gonna be really hard to reach. There could be some streaks on that window, or whatever. Anyway, I'd count up all the windows. An average house probably has about 25 windows on it. I would charge $10 per window per side. Now, we were running a 50% off promotion, so that means I was only charging $5 per window per site. That included the windows, the tracks, the seals, and the screen. And so each house, if they have 25 windows, that's like $250. So I'd go back to the customer, I'd let them know, hey, this is the total, this is the obstacles that I'm facing, this is how long it's going to take. And most of the time they'd say yes. So what I would do is I would just write down all their information and say, okay, cool, I'll be back here on Saturday at 8 a.m. Then I'd keep knocking doors, find someone else, be like, okay, cool, I'll be here at Saturday at 10 a.m. and then keep knocking. And then I'd have another one at noon, and another one at 2, and another one at 4. That way I could finish my day around like 6:30. And if everything went well and it didn't take too long, you know, I put in a long day and it was very hard work, but I'd make $1,000 because each house on average is about $250. Some are more. Some houses are $500 because they just have 50 windows. But that's kind of rare. So anyway, I'd line them up all on one day. And the reason was I didn't have any tools or any equipment or any way to transport anything. So I'd have to go to Home Depot. I'd rent a ladder. I think it was like $50 for a day or something. I'd rent the truck. That was like another $50. And I have to buy all my equipment. But I didn't want to spend money on my business until I knew I had all the money coming in. Now, I have like these buckets that clip onto your belt and these really expensive squeegees and these window applicators. I have these in all different sizes, but I didn't buy any of these. I also have a bucket here that's made specifically for window washing. And all this stuff is really expensive and high quality stuff. And I didn't want to spend a dime until I had the money coming in. So I lined up my 4 jobs. Then I went out and bought all my equipment, rented all the gear, and went out for the day. And by the end of the day, my brother and I would do the jobs. We'd probably have like $800 in profit. And we'd just go out and we'd do that every single day, knocking on doors, setting them up for one day. Eventually, I got to the point where I had about 15 people working for me, and I had a few crews out there. And I have about 3 to 4 people per crew. That way nobody would get fatigued. And, you know, we did really well doing that. It was too much for me to handle. It got out of control. I had too much revenue coming in. I didn't know how to handle it. I had too many responsibilities with the team. I didn't have a good enough training program. I didn't have a lot of policies and procedures in place to be running a company at that size that quickly. So I decided that I needed to scale everything back. But that is basically what happened. Like, I eventually got enough money to go out and buy a truck and a whole bunch of gear and everything. It worked out really, really well as far as like experience and stuff. It was really fun and hectic and super stressful, but it was cool. It was a fun experience. So that's how I was making $100 an hour washing windows. Each house would take about 2.5 hours. So if it's $250, that's it's $100 an hour. So anyway, guys, if you like this kind of thing, subscribe to my channel. And if you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur, I'd love to have you around. So we'll see you guys.